Hello YouTube, Calidus Gamer here with another SoulCalibur video. What I want to discuss is lore-wise because it took me a while to realize this, and this lore
Very well,
sort of
but
flew
I
over
have
my
questions
head
of my own.
because I love playing this character Ivy.
Fight.
She's my queen, she's very awesome to play as, and she's very good looking to look at. But there is something that I find it very interesting about her lore, and it took me a while to understand this. It flew over my head, like literally it flew over my head. And it's because the lore itself, it doesn't really explain very clear what Ivy did, but it makes sense now why Ivy is the way it is. Out of all female characters, you might notice Ivy is the tallest woman, and she's kind of a little bit muscular. I don't want to say she's like a butch woman. No, 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 no. She's definitely a female, feminine woman. But there's something that kind of struck to me about Ivy. Um, you might notice she's a little. How do I say this? She's definitely a woman. That's definitely an obvious thing about her. But one thing I've kind of noticed is how more she is, if that makes any sense. And when you look at her background lore, and if you actually pay attention to the story, you might realize that Ivy actually made herself like superhuman, almost like Witcher level. And it's funny because in Soul Calibur 6 they feature Geralt of Rivia, and now in the Witcher series, if you guys um, pay attention to the lore, especially if you play Witcher 3, they will literally state that the Witchers, they're like superhumans. They do a lot of alchemy, a lot of experimental on themselves, and that's why the Witchers, they're like above average superhuman level. Ivy, she's definitely an above average woman. And what I kind of find it interesting is she's definitely, well, obviously she's a female, but what I want to say is that she's a little on the masculine side, if that makes any sense. But that's because if you read her lore, she literally conducted alchemy on herself. That's literally something that she did, and it makes so much sense why throughout the Soul Calibur story, especially if you play Ivy's story, they call her a vessel. So that's something to consider. Well, I just want to say that Ivy is basically a superhuman, a transhuman, if that makes any sense. But she's definitely a woman. Keep that in mind. Calidus Gamer, over and out.